by William Hildebrandt. Hello.
Hi, Jade.
You're beginning with Argentina trying to find a way to pay its debts.
That's right. President Cristina Fernandez has announced a plan to a debt swap to try to sidestep a U.S. court ruling. In July, Argentina defaulted for the second time in 13 years. That was following what a New York court said that it must pay so-called holdout creditors in full at the same time it pays the rest of its bondholders who had already accepted a 65% haircut on their bonds after the 2001 default. Delano de Souza looks at the details.
Proposing a new law in an effort to skirt a U.S. court ruling, Argentina's president is asking lawmakers to approve a bill to allow Argentina to pay its debts. The proposal comes after the country entered into selective default in July.
We have decided to send a law to the National Congress, the law of sovereign local payment of external debt of the Argentine Republic.
Investors will be eligible to swap bonds issued under foreign law for debt of the same value governed under local law. In June, a judge in New York ordered Argentina to pay the so-called holdout investors $1.5 billion or risk default. And while they have repeatedly declined to accept the same terms as other bondholders, the government says the holdouts too can take part in the swap.
Argentina is going to continue paying its debts according to the conditions made in the restructuring. It's not a change of legislation, it's a change in the payment venue.
The proposed bill is expected to pass through Congress easily. Analysts say the swap carries legal risks as U.S. investors who accept the offer may be held in contempt of court. The latest proposal from the country also dashes any hopes a deal can be reached with the holdouts.
Let's take a quick look at how trading is on Wall Street. U.S. stocks are upward for the most part now. The S&P near an all-time high, with industrials faring the best and the energy the worst among its 10 main sectors. The Dow Jones average was also up, with Home Depot leading blue-chip gains that extended to 20 of 30 components. And earlier, Apple hit a record high on the NASDAQ. And that's just another hour before the markets close there in the U.S. Time now for a brief look at company news, which has we go to Carlsberg profits, which has been affected by tension in Ukraine. Russian beer consumption dropped by up to 7% in the second quarter and 10% in Ukraine. As a result, Carlsberg warned its yearly profits would likely decline as well. The company's Baltika beer in Russia maintains the largest market share, though rival Heineken reported strong growth in Russia for the first half of the year. And Citigroup is considering pulling out of retail banking in Japan and refocusing its commercial and investment banking operations. It's reportedly sounded out as many as 10 other banks about a possible buyout. The U.S. bank has 33 branches in the country. Japan's sinking interest rates have made it difficult for foreign banks to compete with well-established domestic players. In recent years, HSBC and Standard Chartered have both pulled out. And Volvo reported first half-year earnings of 133 million euros. The Swedish carmaker saw double-digit growth in China, where its parent company Geely is based. But the lack of new models in the U.S. has seen sales fall to roughly half of what they were a decade ago. By the year 2020, Volvo aims to nearly double global sales to 800,000. Well, speaking of China's car market, a total of 12 Japanese auto parts suppliers have been fined $201 million due to a price-fixing scandal. The fine is the biggest China's anti-monopoly authorities have levied since the country's anti-monopoly law was put in place in 2008. Regulators said the companies were found to have colluded to reduce competition.
Our anti-monopoly investigation into such moves is aimed to restore competition that is supposed to exist in the market, and thus protect the interests of auto manufacturers, dealers, and consumers.
Time now for one last story. A healthy dose of bling bling meets K-pop. French luxury goods giant LVMH will invest up to 60 million euros in South Korea's YG Entertainment, the group which manages most notably the rapper Psy, best known for the Gangnam Style. Here you're seeing his video for Hangover, which features Snoop Dogg. It's a big bet on the surging Korean wave of pop culture that has grown in global popularity, but trendy pop stars are a gamble. Cosmetics company Elizabeth Arden singled out the poor sales of Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift's perfumes for causing the biggest quarterly loss in the company's history. So, Jade, which perfume do you wear? Is it Taylor Swift's?
It's definitely not Taylor Swift's or Justin Bieber's, and I'm not sure I'd be going for size perfume either. But very interesting. Thanks very much for that, William Hildebrand. Right, it's time now to take a look at some of the top trends online, including a stunning video of Paris that's notching up the views. But first, some of the divided reaction to the killing of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri.